Welcome to the Gladiator Guide, a show where I take a combat sports fighter and I give them an overall rating based on 5 career indicators, with the 5 being professional record for record, strength of resume for resume, career milestones for accolades, style effectiveness for style, and finally, damage taken for longevity. I will give each category a rating out of 20 overall, and once I've completed each one, the totals will be added together, ultimately to reveal said fighter's overall out of 100. To achieve this, I'll be walking you through the fighter's career, grading it as we go. After all of that's been completed, I'll add the fighter to the Gladiator game. Now that you're all caught up, if you enjoy the content, it'd mean a lot if you subscribed and dropped a like. I'm passionate about this channel, so the quality of my content will only go up from here. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to the Gladiator Guide. John "Sexual Chocolate" Jones began his career in mixed martial arts in 2008, fighting in the regional scene for only 4 months. In this time, Jones amassed a 6-0 record, even knocking out future UFC heavyweight Parker Porter during his regional run. Jones debuted in the UFC, quickly going 3-0, even beating the likes of Stephan Bonner. John "Bones" Jones was quickly becoming the next hottest prospect in MMA. And despite a DQ to Matt Hamill in a fight he was dominating, taking his perfect record, Bones would go on to never lose in the octagon. Closing out his tear throughout the light heavyweight division as a challenger, Jones submitted future Bellator double champ and at the time undefeated Ryan Bader to earn a title shot at then champion Shogun Rua. Jones would go on to dominate Shogun, finishing him with strikes to become the new king of light heavyweight and quite honestly, the new pound for pound king for the next decade. He was also the youngest ever champion at just 23 years old, his first year in the UFC. His consecutive title defense number is janky on paper. Throughout his run as king, Jones defeated the likes of Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Vitor Belfort, Chael P. Sonnen, Alexander Gustafsson twice, Glover Teixeira, Daniel Cormier twice, Ovince St. Preux, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, and Dominic Reyes. When you take a look at Jones' accolades, Bones is a 2-time UFC light heavyweight champion, first holding the title from March 2011 all the way through April 2015. And then again from December 2018 to August 2020, even holding interim belts twice throughout that time period. Bones won Fighter of the Year in 2011. Bones' fight with Alexander Gustafsson, the first one, which took place at UFC 165, was inducted into the UFC's Hall of Fame Fight Wing in 2021. Bones has 15 title bouts and holds the record for the most title wins in UFC history with 14. When you look at his strength of resume, he defeated Daniel Cormier, 2-time light heavyweight champion, and a double champ. Ryan Bader, who went on to become a double champ for Bellator. Shogun Rua, who was a Pride legend and a UFC champion. Rampage Jackson, another Pride legend and UFC champion. Lyoto Machida, another UFC champion. Rashad Evans, another UFC champion. And Glover Teixeira, a future UFC champion. When it comes to his longevity, Bones has never been knocked down or rocked, and he only took visible damage against Gustafsson the first time, broke his toe against Chael P in a fight that he dominated in the first round, and dislocated his shoulder in an armbar against Vitor. For style effectiveness, Jones is a fighter that utilizes every possible strike in the game, couples it with wild creativity and NJCAA level wrestling. In the early days of his career especially, Bones was a finisher. John would chase subs on the ground, slicing you up with bows and knees, obliques that can dislocate your kneecaps, and rangy head kicks. All of what I just listed doesn't come remotely close to JBJ's greatest strength, his mind for violence. As mentioned before, Jones allowed his shoulder to dislocate in order to escape an armbar from Vitor. Against DC, John kicks out DC's leg while he's stumbling backwards, rocked from a head kick, just so it's easier for him to knock him out. Against Glover, John used a wicked arm crank to destroy Glover's right shoulder and effectively neutralize Glover in that fight and his best weapons. Probably very intimidating being John's opponent, knowing he will aim to beat you at your own game. Now to plug in the scores for all 5 of the career indicators. For professional record, I'm going to give John an 18 out of 20. He has as close as you can get to a perfect record if you're somebody not named Khabib or Arislav. And I mean, realistically, he should be 28-0, but he's not. And that's his fault at the end of the day. So I'm going to give him an 18 out of 20. For strength of resume, he is the bar for having a strong resume. 100%, without a doubt, he gets a 20 out of 20. For career milestones or accolades, I'm going to give John a 19 out of 20. He is almost the bar. The only thing missing on his record is double champ status. That's like almost mandatory in today's age in the UFC. Funny enough, this weekend, John Jones is going to be chasing that. This could very well change to a 20. And honestly, I was bouncing back and forth in my head. I ended up on 19. Whatever, like, whatever you decide with, it's all up to personal opinion. I'm going to go with 19 out of 20, though. Style effectiveness, I'm giving John a 20. There's almost no fighter in the history of who he's competed with that hasn't been frozen by his style and the way he utilizes his range, his reach, all of his tools. It's ridiculous. So easily, that's a 20 out of 20. And for longevity, I mean, again, what damage has he taken? Almost none. The only person I would say that's taken even less is Khabib, because people have to straight up argue about whether or not he got rocked by DP and by Bobby Green. I mean, I'm sorry, not Bobby Green, and by Michael Johnson. So just because of that, I would say Khabib is the bar for longevity and damage taken. I'm going to give John a 19. It's so close to perfect, it's actually crazy. But when you add it all up, John is 4 points down from a perfect score, having him sit at a 96 overall. You guys are not going to see me rating people this highly almost ever. I mean, it's really going to be just a few fighters that would get ratings this high. It just so happens to be that the first episode is on John Jones. You know, just to highlight the fact that he's coming back after a long layoff, coming in to take on the heavyweight champion. I just want to capitalize on the hype. Everyone's already talking about him, so fuck it. You know, let's throw my thoughts into the mix. But yeah, I mean, a 96 overall, that is solid. We can plug him into the Gladiator game now. He's on the character list. That's going to be all for me today, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed my first installment of the Gladiator Guide.